Thank you for downloading and liking Gamify 24/7. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and SoundCloud. Just make sure you give us a nice 5-star review, unless it's out of 10, in which case give us 10. It's time for episode 10!
Woo! Double figures!
We've been doing this now into double figures, so that's an achievement. So I think we should just first of all take time to congratulate each other on our brilliant insight into the video games industry.
Everyone.
Well done, guys.
Yay!
For sure. Unfortunately, Miguel, I can't pat you in the shoulder as well.
Oh, that's fine. I can feel the virtual pat on my back. So this week then, I was away at the weekend. I was enjoying the beautiful sunshine on the Isle of Bute. So Isle of Beautiful, as it was, because it was very, very sunny.
Oh, God.
Sorry, that's even worse than last week's terrible flop. Right, so first of all, the one thing that I really wanted to do while I was away, I took the Switch with me, and I really wanted to get some game time in. Didn't happen. Game time's difficult when you're socializing, no matter how hard you try. For me,
I feel like I said this during the advert, for the first advert. I'm not going to play it at parties.
No 1-2 Switch, jeez.
I played real life games like snooker and pool and stuff. So like real stuff, which was, mind blown. Anyway, what I did miss out on, and one of the reasons I took the Switch, was I really wanted to get in on the action with the Splatoon Global Testfire. Anton, you did though. You managed to get some action in.
Yes, just
Splatoon. Splatoon, I've got right here. Splatoon, obviously.
I managed to get. Jeez, this is going to make this whole session seem great. Yeah, I got about half an hour in. Then I was like, it's just the same as the last one. Nothing really new. But yeah, it's a solid game. You've been playing it as well, Sean. You managed to get a little bit.
Yeah, I got 30 minutes on the Friday night, the first one.
Yeah.
And I found I used it with the grip, so I put the Joy-Cons in the grip. And I found I was aiming really crap. But then I took the Joy-Cons out of the grip and I started recentering myself with the Y button a little bit easier. And I was finding I was starting to get used to it, but then it finished. So I think I'd probably need to go, and there was a lot of people saying they weren't enjoying the motion controls.
Yeah. So
I'd heard, take it off, yeah.
I'd heard that there's a way that you can pretty much turn them off, and then once you do that, a lot of people have said that that's improved the gameplay considerably.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I did. So I played with the motion controls. What I don't get, they're not that good. It's like Splatoon 1 had better motion controls, Breath of the Wild had better motion controls. I switched off, perfect. It felt very nice.
Did you try it with the Pro controller?
I tried it with both the Pro controller and in handheld mode. And it kind of similar results on both.
I could see handheld mode being awkward because you're moving the screen.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, when I took them out of the grip, the Joy-Cons, I found I was aiming a little bit better, but I still needed to recenter myself. So I was starting to get the hang of it, but I wasn't. There was people who were wasting them. I was getting destroyed. But yeah, I think if I took off the motion controls. But like I found Splatoon was similar anyway. I found that I was kind of not used to the motion controls. It takes a bit of getting used to, and then once you get used to it, it's not too bad.
I think it would be nicer if they had a system, once again, like Breath of the Wild, where you can have a hybrid of both. So it's like you aim with a stick and then fine-tune with motion controls rather than having one or the other.
Yeah.
But besides that, what did you guys think of the actual gameplay, like outside of the controls in comparison to other games you're playing?
Yeah, ran smooth and stuff like that, no issues, got on straight away. Yeah, it seemed fine, looked nice and stuff, and I could see the appeal of the new dual wielding, the roll. There was other people who were doing like the flood thing from Mario or whatever. So yeah, it looked nice.
And it's a slightly stripped down version of what they're going. I mean, they didn't have every game mode apparently in there, and so it was kind of like, this is how it's going to feel, this is how it's going to play, and it's going to be bigger and better hopefully. So I guess for me, I've never played Splatoon, so like it would be a new experience for me anyway. For me, it reminds me a little bit of a kind of very colourful Plants vs Zombies kind of vibe.
I think if you're new to the like yourself, I think if you're new to it, it's going to be great. If you played the original one, I think it really comes down to what's in the single player mode. Is there a much bigger single player campaign or lots of new stuff added to make it worthwhile upgrading? I'd still like Nintendo to come up with something where you can pay a small fee and upgrade, but it is Splatoon 2. It's not like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so I don't think they'll go the route with that. But yeah, it's it really comes down to the single player campaign for me.
Yeah, kind of likewise. It just felt really similar to Splatoon 1. Like, they could have easily done this as a Splatoon Deluxe and I wouldn't question it.
Yeah.
What's kind of disappointing, I feel like if you're somebody who's still playing Splatoon every single day, then definitely go for it. But if you're somebody who's like maybe dabbles in it like once a month like myself, it's probably not really worth the purchase at this point. What's quite disappointing, unless you really want it on the go.
Yeah.
I think that's just the one major selling point of Splatoon 2.
I like Splatoon. I didn't have any. I don't have a Switch, so there we go. Sorry, everyone.
Do you think, Kat, it would be something that you would play? If you had the Switch, would you play Splatoon 2?
Yes, because I really liked Splatoon. I liked the first one. So
Cool.
I'd be excited for that.
I think I'm definitely getting it here in the studio, so once we get it, we can do some multiplayer sessions.
It's on my list. I mean, I have to say that for me, I like the idea of a fun online multiplayer that you can kind of pick up and have a few games and then leave it again. That works for me, and I think that often that's kind of overlooked by Nintendo, or it doesn't happen as much as I would like. There's ways to do the cute fun thing and have online multiplayer in that sense. Obviously Mario Kart, but I'm talking more kind of like shooter type, first person type ideas or third person. So that's going to be good. Do we have a release date on it yet?
No, summer.
Yeah, just vague summer now.
I'm pretty sure E3 we're just at that around the corner. I'm thinking they're going to probably have, like they did last year with Smash Brothers, they'll have like a competition with it. There was already talk about them doing it at one of the gaming events things, the competition. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's something they announce closer to E3 as launching during E3, and they've got like a live comp on the stage for it.
Okay, so we're going to come on to E3 a little bit more, a little bit later in the podcast. But before that, let's talk about PlayStation VR. So, what have you been playing, Sean, and what are you looking forward to playing?
Well, mentioned it last week, Korix on PlayStation VR. That comes out when you listen to the podcast. It will have just come out on the 28th, the Tuesday. It's going to be, I've not got the exact price, but it's going to be about £15-16, or in the US, $20. And there is some download content for 99 cents or 70 pence here. Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a good game, so addictive when you play it. Again, me and PlayStation VR Frank, we're going to be doing some live streams of it in the studio and stuff. Obviously, he's in America, but we'll be doing some live sessions of it. I think I'm going to do it as a regular stream. It's that good. And it's really simple, really easy to get your head around, intuitive to use, looks great, and it's just really addictive.
Right,
Yeah.
so what's for somebody that's never played it like me, and somebody that's never seen it, I should say, because I know very little about it because I don't have VR yet. You know what it's like. You kind of have an eye on it, but you don't necessarily go and watch the videos and the teasers. So tell us a bit about it and why it's addictive.
Well, it's a real-time strategy or tower defense type game. This is something that I never play myself. The reason why I played it is obviously because we were covering it for the interview with Stellar VR, the developer. And when we went down and played it, me and Lindsay were having a great time playing it. We thought it was really, really cool. So we've got it now here in the studio, so we were playing it just at the weekend there. But it's just one of these games. It's like something that I'd never touched normally, like that kind of game. And it's just because it's so accessible, really intuitive to play, but it's really highly addictive. The Korix are a planet, they've been attacked by this enemy, your planet gets destroyed and you're out for revenge, to take revenge on whoever destroyed your homeworld. And that's it, it's a really simple premise. And you go in, you do what you do in normal sort of tower defense, real-time strategy type games. You collect crystals from like a crystal generator thing, and you use that to build up your bases and protect your base, and then you go and attack the enemy's base. But that's it, it's just really simple, but it's really funny. And because it's really clean graphics, it's like retro style graphics, so it's flat polygons, it's no massively detailed textures or anything, just really simple flat polygons. So when you're playing it, it's really crisp and clean, it's really, really easy to navigate around it. You can do it with 4 players, it's got a skirmish mode where you can go back and replay as you unlock more and more of the weapons and the tools. You've got a co-op mode with up to 4 players online, and you've got a versus mode, so you can do a versus mode against those other 3 players, or you can all play together against the baddie, or you can do the same all together, so you're all competing against each other and competing against the main baddie. Okay. So it's got a single player campaign as well, which will take about 3 to 5 hours. So.
Okay, Kat, Why have you and I not bought PlayStation VR yet?
Yeah.
I am poor, I guess, is the real answer to that. I spend my money on other things that I shouldn't. But yeah, I do actually want to. During that conversation, I'd drifted off a tiny bit, not because it was boring, just because I was thinking to myself, I should get a PSVR.
Oh,
but
shiny.
it's obviously, because before I'd played it, I assumed it would be kind of the Kinect, you needed loads of space. And I kind of thought it would be a bit like that. But obviously, sitting here in the studio playing it, you just kind of need a chair. And that's it. Is there a distance you need from the camera and stuff?
I think you need to be about 2 meters away from the camera, or within 1 to 2 meters from the camera. So from where the table is in the studio here, that's kind of the ideal distance. And then as long as you've got height-wise. But yeah, you don't need a ton of space. Most of the stuff for the PlayStation VR is kind of sit-down experiences, unlike the Vive where you've got room scale VR where you can walk around. So PlayStation VR is much more accessible in that sense.
Yeah, because also I've moved recently and I've got a bigger room now, so I kind of am maybe I actually do have space for that now. But I guess I would also kind of like to wait and see what E3 will show us in relation to how that's coming along and what kind of more stuff's coming out and things.
I think that's a good point, because I'm kind of the same as you. That I'm a big PlayStation fan, PS4, and when PSVR came out, I was very excited about the prospect, and from everything that Sean's told us, it's been great. But I still haven't. I went and bought a Switch last week, but I haven't bought PSVR, and I'm trying to get in my head why that. What is it that's missing? And I think it's partly because Star Trek's not out yet, to be honest. But it's also partly because we're just missing for me the title that makes, apart from maybe Batman, it was pretty close. The title that makes me want to go, I've got to go and get PSVR. Whereas Switch has Zelda Day One, and I think that's probably it, really.
Yeah, I think the Switch is obviously, it's a much more accessible console in the sense that you can take it wherever you want. You can use it at home, use it on the plane or whatever. So in that sense, that's probably got a much higher value.
I would love you to play the PSVR on the plane. That would be great.
Totally. Well, this is what I said last week. I genuinely believe that the Switch, a hybrid type console, and PlayStation VR, or VR in general, is probably the way consoles are going to go. Those two are going to be massive. And then I think you'll have the other side is PC stuff. And that's why I think Scorpio, which we'll probably get onto in a little bit, Scorpio is probably not going the right way. They're going like their Trojan to get into your home with their console and then sell you Windows type games. But yeah, I think hybrid devices and PlayStation VR or VR is definitely the way forward. I'd love Switch to do it, but I think PlayStation's obviously got the advantage now with VR stuff. So
I think one of the main discouragers with VR now is VR came out and then all of a sudden the games have slowed down. There's still games coming out, obviously, like Korix, but you're not really seeing any big noticeable games coming out these days. There's a few things still in the pipeline, we've got that new Psychonauts game, but there's nothing like VR sellers, maybe Job Simulator or something like that. What was a real selling point, a game I wanted to try personally, or Batman. Yeah,
well, I suppose the big one was Resident Evil, wasn't it? That was
that was the biggest, the most kind of popular title I think that has come out so far that would have been really, really good, and it was good having played it on VR. But there's as Michael's saying, there's nothing that has come out or seems to be coming out that's made me kind of go that's the only way I can play that, I better get that kind of thing.
Star Trek should have been out right now, but it's been delayed 3 times or something, so I think that would have been the kind of getting you excited still and keeping it going on with the hype, but because it's dropped off, it's what is there really coming?
What excites me about the Star Trek game is the multiplayer aspect of it, and the idea of working as a team in a VR environment with the Star Trek world. If they get that right, that could be something special, and that potentially could be enough to make me part with the money, because they're not cheap. It's not cheap. The Switch isn't cheap. Pro controllers aren't cheap. Zelda's not cheap. Everything's expensive. So there is a bit of kind of prioritizing. But and if we could, I'm sure we'd have them all. But it'll be interesting to see how it develops. As you said, E3 is not that far away now, and we're going to come on to that in a minute. Before that, though, Anton, what's all this JonTron stuff?
Oh yes, essentially, JonTron, popular YouTuber, creating videos since like 2008, I believe, has been saying some questionable things that have got a lot of people mad, kind of expressing his political views after the Trump administration. And a lot of people are very cross with him, even a lot of his fans, like the JonTron subreddit, like everybody at the top there is just not satisfied and really going against him, tearing him down a few pegs. And essentially the Platonic Games have kind of just like, they're like, no, we don't want to associate ourselves with JonTron, and they've removed his entire role in the game.
So what was JonTron doing in Platonics and Yooka-Laylee?
He was just essentially a character. What I believe he would just send the main protagonist on a quest, I believe, kind of similar to Shovel Knight's appearance in the game. So yeah, his entire voice role has been removed, and I believe it's going to be in a forthcoming update after the game's release. They're just going to remove his part. And they've just put out a statement. The good thing is, though, is I've seen JonTron has been quite mature about this, and he hasn't got any bad blood. And he actually reconciles the fact that he understands why the developer would do this.
Well, he's probably still being paid for it.
Quite possibly.
I know it could be a tricky one, but what was it that he was saying that was so controversial?
He said his name was actually pronounced JonTron. And everyone was like, oh my god, I thought it was JonTron the whole time.
That is controversial.
Yeah, essentially a lot of the stuff he was saying is kind of a lot of very right-wing opinions, stuff such as he believes there's no inequality in America. I'm trying to think, don't want to put words in his mouth, but kind of just a lot of very risky stuff in that department.
And was it more kind of pro-Trump? Was that the problem? It was kind of...
Oh yes, definitely. Pro-Trump, anti-abortion, that kind of argument, that kind of side of stuff.
Isn't it crazy that in 2017, who would have thought 5 years ago that by agreeing with the President of America, you get yourself into so much trouble that people start not wanting to associate with you. Crazy world we live in. Oh wow. Okay.
I think another thing that's kind of putting him in the deep waters, he's now associating with, like Sargon, kind of. He's even very anti-trans, so it's like that kind of crowd he's gotten himself into has got people very riled up.
This comes back to something that I've thought for a long time, and there's a lot of YouTubers out there just now. There's a lot of big YouTubers that, do you really know anything about them? No. It's like you go and watch them on YouTube and you know the most basic things about them, and a lot of them are putting on personas for YouTube, and people are surprised when it turns out maybe they've got a different kind of opinion or whatever. It's like, well, maybe you should be thinking about that in the first place. But everyone just follows. It's like there's this culture now that everyone just follows people blindly, and then they're surprised when it turns out they're some weirdo or something, you know?
Yeah, I think it's because like kind of everyone's used to like celebrity culture, like A-list culture and stuff here, where people will appear on chat shows and there'll be stories about them in magazines, and generally they can't hide from the press ever. So kind of if somebody's got a dirty secret, you tend to find out fairly quickly in the media here. Like whereas with YouTubers, they are a lot more popular with younger people who are exclusively accessing them just on the internet, and kind of the traditional media doesn't pay much attention to them. Like I know Markiplier has been on US primetime TV and stuff before, but that I think to do with also is like his charity work and things, as opposed to like anything. And PewDiePie's been in the news a lot for some not the best reasons either. But other than like that, I don't know that many who are in like traditional media in the sense that like they're not appearing in like magazines like Hello magazine or whatever, getting slated for whatever they've done and stuff like that. So I kind of think that's where this kind of comes into it. So you forget that they're portrayed differently. They have like kind of the benefit of being able to portray themselves how they want, and a lot of people won't criticise that in the way that celebrities usually are.
You know, I think obviously like with online stuff, I think you should be able to say what you want to a certain degree. Obviously, I think if you're going around you're being racist and everything, you shouldn't be on there. But I think at the same time, you're in the public eye on something like YouTube, you've got an audience, and if you're going to talk and say stupid things, then you'd be surprised. You know, it's like...
It's just standard PR.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's people like PewDiePie's done it loads of times where he's went on and he's come out with some semantic views or whatever. Semantic?
Semantic.
Semantic. It's semantics. The semantics were wrong there. And he's coming with stuff. And he's coming with stuff that's maybe a bit offensive and stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, it's like he's deliberately trying to be controversial. I said, well, don't you be surprised when people pull you up in it? If you're going to act like a bit of a dick, to be honest, then it's going to happen. So
you have to bleep that out.
Yeah,
we have to bleep that out.
18 certificate.
But yeah, it's it always surprises me that people are surprised that they get the response that they're getting by saying certain things. It's like, well, if you're in the public eye, if you're an actor, a singer, whatever, then you'd be surprised when that stuff happens. You know?
Yeah, it's why celebrities have publicists.
Yeah.
But again, if you're kind of in charge of your own brand entirely, like a lot of YouTubers are, you don't have a publicist, and it's going to happen. And I think the more famous YouTubers there are, the more this is going to become a common problem, because not everybody knows how to conduct themselves, I guess.
You know, if you went back 5-10 years ago, whilst this was still kind of small, like YouTubers were still fairly small, if you did something, as you said, nobody would know about it. But now, everyone's got access to it. So as you say, everything comes out and there's no way of avoiding it. But it's almost like some people are still thinking like from 10 years ago. It's like, yeah, I can say something, but no, everyone's going to see it. You're screwed.
Yeah.
So.
Well, interesting. I'm going to have to go and check out, because I've never watched any of his previous stuff, so I will look forward to now watching it with an even more analytical eye than I would have before. So there we go. That's the JonTron controversy.
With a Jacksepticeye. Oh, I'll get my coat.
Tumbleweed going past.
Yeah, I'm just like, no.
So E3 is it's getting ever closer week by week, and we were talking just before we started recording about the possible Switch announcements that are to come. But it's not just the Switch, it's where everybody gets in on the act, and we're starting now to get the occasional story about who might be running what at E3. There was talk about seeing more gameplay as well. What is it about E3 that you guys are looking forward to seeing more of, or what do you think will be the big focus for the big players?
Personally, me, I've kind of got two main focuses this year, like things that I've got my eye on. The first of which being Switch, obviously. I feel like there's a lot more store. We've talked enough about Switch, so let's glide on past. Secondly is the Xbox Scorpio. So I feel like they're up to far more than they're letting on. Because kind of the theory I was kind of discussing last, I believe, like an episode or 2 episodes ago, is the Xbox Scorpio can't just be a 4K Xbox, because why would they need more power than a PlayStation Pro to do that, even natively, considering the Xbox One Basic is so underpowered compared to the PS4. And as well as that, I feel like this year, even though we've got a few good games like Sea of Thieves, for instance, and Crackdown 3, if that's still coming out this year, the launch lineup, the games this year are kind of weak on the Xbox side of stuff, so I feel like there's a lot getting held back, and the Xbox Scorpio is going to be a bigger console than they're letting on. And I think these big games that are in the works, these are going to be like system sellers for the Xbox One. Because think about this, how long since we've had a flagship title on an Xbox game? On an Xbox console?
Sorry, Kat, on you go.
No, I was gonna agree there. I think so. And they've also, Microsoft have come out recently saying they're gonna focus a lot more on the games this year at E3, which I kind of feel they tried last year anyway. They tried to, but I just wasn't that impressed. But I guess they're trying to learn their lesson, so that I think maybe there'll be more exclusives, and probably for the Scorpio, because that's going to be a big thing for them.
I mean, Sea of Thieves, I have to say, it looks quite tasty. I do like the look of that. But I have a weird relationship with Xbox, because I was definitely a 360 player, and very much a 360 player, and it was innovative at the time, and the titles were great. There was always big titles on the Xbox. Multiplayers were great as well, and I kind of, when I got the Xbox One, I was disappointed with a few things. Actually, mostly the compared to the PlayStation, I'm not a big fan of the interface, and I wasn't a massive fan of the navigation in comparison. However, nothing at the core of it wrong with the Xbox One, but I just haven't connected with it. I didn't connect with it in the way that I did with the Xbox 360. So I'm kind of interested to find out what is it that's going to entice people who have left from the 360 and moved on to PlayStation. What's going to bring them back with the Scorpio?
I think one big thing that might possibly do it is because obviously, excuse me, sorry. I feel like Xbox's approach to VR could be big. So they're talking about doing games like Fallout 4 in VR. The games they're talking about doing in VR are much bigger and much more detailed games than we've got on PSVR. And I think if they pull it off right, that might be their edge.
But the problem with that, though, is like something like Fallout 4 VR, that's coming to PC. So you've got Oculus Rift and Vive that's going to be better anyway in some ways. I'm just really curious about what Microsoft can potentially do. It's like, can they really compete with a PC? No, unless you're going to charge £1,000 or something. Can they compete with a PlayStation 4? Well, they can do, but then what's different? Can they compete with VR? Well, they can do. They can come up with their version that's inside-out tracking or whatever, which is a little bit better than the PlayStation VR. But already PlayStation VR is working on that. So really, what do they have? It's like, I'm excited to see some new tech. Always am. I love E3 for this kind of stuff. But I just don't know what they've got that's really going to be a big paradigm change or a difference to make it worthwhile. I just think they've had their ass kicked by the PlayStation 4 this generation. They're at half of the sales of what the PlayStation 4 is. And how can they really compete? They've actually lost a lot of the credit they got throughout the whole Xbox 360 sort of cycle.
They totally have.
All the games now are on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So any big titles, unless it's an actual Xbox exclusive like Halo or something, it's all on the PlayStation VR anyway.
Yeah, it's like, I was thinking there as well. I was just like, why, when Mike was saying he kind of lost a bit of respect and stuff, I was really into the 360 as well. That was like my thing. That was what I really, really loved. And I, from the kind of the get-go where it was like next gen's coming, blah, 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 I was like really excited for Microsoft's announcement. That I wasn't caring about the Sony announcement because I know the PlayStation 4 was announced first. And I watched that and I was like, it's alright. But I can't wait for the next Xbox. And then it was such a letdown. The whole thing was such a letdown. And I ended up getting a PS4 and I have not looked back since because the exclusives have been so much better. Like, there's been absolutely nothing. Gears of War, maybe, like Gears of War 4, just because I was such a big Gears of War fan. But even then, the reviews and people who've played it have said it's not that good.
Well,
so
it's
I'm
like with Gears of War as well. I mean, for me, that I was a massive Gears of War fan of the 360. I haven't even wanted to. That's not been enough for me.
No.
Maybe if they brought back Viva Pinata, I might then be tempted.
Exactly. I might get on board then because I love Viva Pinata. But
that was the whole experience. That was
or
a whole kind
Knights of the Old Republic 3 would definitely, like, if Microsoft for any reason listen to this, then Knights of the Old Republic 3, if they do that for exclusively Xbox One or whatever, I'll be on that straight away.
As will I. I'm on board too if that happens. So what else at E3 then? What are the things that we're looking out for? Obviously the Scorpio's the big one. We want to really hear more about that. We're not talking about that S console that starts with S and ends with which. There's other stuff happening, guys. What else are we thinking for E3 and what are we looking forward to?
Well,
Sony. I always just want to see what Sony are going to be doing. I'm mainly just concerned, like, they announced so many good things last year that still haven't come out because obviously it's just like teasing and stuff like that. And I think my biggie is Detroit still. And still after that, I
Cyberpunk.
Regularly check to see. It's the one, Quantic Dream.
Oh yeah.
Like the kind of
girl who was crying or
robots, cyborg people. It's, yeah, it kind of reminds you of that TV series, Humans, is that what it was called, on Channel 4? Yeah, it's kind of like that, it'll be heavily choice-based, story-driven, similar to their other games. They did Fahrenheit, Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more about that, hopefully get a release date for that. This year would be fabulous if it's going to come out. There's also the CD Projekt Red game.
Oh yeah,
what's that called again?
Cyberpunk 2048.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been in like
Definitely.
development hell for years.
So long.
I think they're aiming for like, is it 2018, 2019? What is
2048.
I just want to know. I just want to see more about it because I was so sure that they were going to say some more last year at the Sony conference. But we didn't hear anything.
Half-Life 3.
Well,
Half-Life
we
3.
can
I was
always
just
just
going to
wish.
say that.
That's top of the list. Like no matter what, it's just solid there. But I don't know. Everyone gets so hyped when they see that Valve are going to be at a conference. So if Valve are going to be at E3, everyone will be like, maybe.
You know what though? Now that's Microsoft with their, I forgot what it's called now. What's the thing they're using for their game thing? It's like the development process where you've got to do the games on Windows and the Xbox. I forgot what it's called.
Oh yeah, the little I've forgotten what it's called too. But where you can play them.
Play anywhere.
Aye,
Yeah.
It's like they're starting to now do a similar thing to Steam, to what Valve's been doing. So I think Steam is now getting a bit more competition, and it wouldn't surprise me if Steam starts getting much more competition with people with money like Microsoft can actually challenge them on a software and financial level, can get in there, that Steam will then say, or Valve will say, let's put the big game out. Because that would be a big seller.
Oh,
I mean, if you
that
say
would be the
Steam's the only
ultimate
one that's got
seller.
it, you're on Steam.
Oh my god! Yeah, no matter what that came out on, I would. If it came out only on PC, I would get a new PC. That's it.
I theorise that I think potentially Half-Life 3 could be a big push in VR games.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, definitely.
That's where Valve's attention is at. Source 2 is in VR, and people who are saying, "Oh, Valve's not working on anything," I'm like, "Why are they developing a new game engine?
Yeah.
Why is there Half-Life 3 code in Source 2
And they're
engine?"
obviously involved with Vive, so.
You know that meme that's like the guy going like that point in his head. You know the I can't. How do you
That's
describe
a brilliant
that?
meme. I love that one.
I know. How do I describe it in just words? But basically, you'll know what I mean if I say it. It was like to do.
Yeah.
I was like Valve be like.
Valve are like working on a new
They
engine.
were like, no, the guy was like pointing at his head. It was like, can't make a bad game if you don't make any games. And I was like, yep, that's exactly what it's like.
That's like one of the best memes ever.
I know, I love it. But if I just, before I forget, say, I think if Microsoft are wanting to kind of come back, even just purely from a conference point of view, and this sounds like basically everybody except kind of Nintendo. I don't mind watching a Nintendo conference because I don't feel as horribly cringy as I do with most of the others. Sony kind of nailed it last year. They just were like straight to the point. Here's the games. This is it. Whereas like Ubisoft cringed out of my face for that. Honestly, who was the presenter they had again?
The actress.
The actress. She was in Friends.
Aye.
You know.
She just reuses
quite
her
hot as well.
jokes
My
every year.
God,
That's got
it was
nothing
the worst. There's that, and also Microsoft. They're so cheesy and staged and
Just-
set
oh my
up.
God.
Just going back to her. How tall is she compared to Yves Guillemot?
I
She's
know.
about twice the size of him.
I always think Yves looks like an evil villain. It's like, you will buy your games and you will like them. And you will refund them and you'll buy all the microtransactions.
James will love you. Send your games to us. Cheers.
So yeah, even like that, like the games could still be really good, but if they're delivered to me like that, it makes me cringe. It makes me kind of doubt the credibility, and it just makes me feel like they're trying too hard to sell me something. Whereas
Well,
like Sony
this-
just let the games speak for themselves. That's what I want.
Talking about god-awful conferences, EA, they rent out their whole venue. I'm like, just EA Sports should have its own conference
Yep,
because I
exactly.
don't want to sit
I
there
don't
and have
want-
a footballer walk on stage and be like, yeah, they've added kicking,
I know,
it's
it's like,
fantastic, the
it's
best kicking
almost
we've
like
ever
I'm
made.
playing for real, and it's like I don't care.
Like,
I don't care. That's just me, but
I've never watched Star Wars. I don't care. Come out and talk about Star Wars. That's at least interesting.
I know it does. It
EA Sports can
annoys
sit in
me.
the
All
corner.
these staged setup things. Remember they got Usher on to dance,
Oh,
or remember that
terrible.
for Just Dance. That's annoyed the
E3
crap
needs
out
to
of
go
me.
back to, like, I understand what Anton's saying there about having the sports games, but there is obviously a lot of people love that stuff in America. I think it needs to go back to the three big conferences: Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. It's like now you've got Ubisoft, EA, you've got bloody what do you call it, Bethesda's one. You've got all these different conferences, and I feel like it's spread far too thin. So we used to get really excited about these conferences. They're now diluted a little bit. I think going back to the Microsoft thing, how can Microsoft get back in the game? I'll be honest with you, I don't think they can. I think the only way Microsoft is going to make inroads now is if they get the exclusives. If they pay the big money to get the exclusives and they've got their big staple ones that are Xbox only ones, then that's the only way they're going to compete. I think if it's on a tech level, I honestly don't think people give a flying toss about.
I thought we were going to have some more beeps in here.
I don't think people care about 6 teraflops, 20 teraflops. They didn't care because it's starting to go into PC territory. You've always got PC guys who are like, yeah, but we're on 12 teraflops now. So I don't think it matters. The games is what's going to matter, and that's what they've been lacking, and that's why they've dropped off, and people are.
Well, they kind of ruined themselves by being so kind of unavailable to indie developers.
Yeah.
Because when you back stuff on Kickstarter, generally it'll be for PC because that's where they're going to be developing it. But at the same time, you can usually get to a tier where it's like, oh, but we'll try and put it on PS4. And yes, it will come out on PS4 eventually. Whereas there just seems to be nothing to be said for the Xbox One, and kind of indie devs or just small companies are trying to just kind of make something. That's kind of Xbox are losing out there.
What are you looking forward to, Michael?
Well, you've covered quite a lot. I mean, I'm going to say...
Wait, this is just pure E3 chat.
Yeah, no, I mean, what I'm looking forward to seeing what Sony do next, simply because we've had now a few months of VR. We had such a slick presentation last year, as Kat said, and they do tend to be slick. I think the biggest worry for them is that because they haven't got the likes of the brand new console like the Switch, they haven't got the upcoming console like the Scorpio, but they've got stuff which kind of we know about. It's going to come down to titles and exclusives, I think, again for Sony and where they're going as a direction. But I think their biggest worry is that it's a bit flat. That's the only thing that I worry with Sony, is there going to be enough? But the thing about Sony is they do tend to always pull out of the bag no matter what happens. They've always got something that you don't expect, whereas I think it's quite predictable with some of them. And also going back to that presentation style, it's the American thing, Kat. That's what it is. You get that slick American presentation, or you get the kind of the cool, the chilled kind of, here's the games, you're going to like them, and that's what everyone loves.
That's what people want. I don't like feeling like I'm watching a shopping channel. Like, people are trying to sell me things. It's like, just let the games speak for themselves. Let me decide if I want this.
Remember the best one, the guy, what's his name, Tanuki or something, anyway, the guy from Microsoft, it was like several years ago now, where he came on and was trying to show the Xbox avatars. Remember that?
God, like on the Kinect.
He's like, you ever wondered what the bottom of an avatar shoe looks like? Well, bam! And his avatar went all wonky.
It's just so embarrassing.
I won't lie, I'm kind of nervous for the PlayStation conference.
Really?
Like, since 2013, they've been getting better and better and better.
Well, you've got
every year they keep on beating the odds, and like every year I'm just sitting there, I'm like, they can't outdo last year.
Well,
last year was so good. We just had game after game after game, and there were so many big names. Like 2015, we had like so many big bombshells, like Shenmue, Final Fantasy VII. I was like, oh, we're never going to beat that, and then they did it, and it's
they're like it's like they manage like at E3 and their own conference every year to just amaze me. And also just remember Death Stranding. We're gonna surely see some more Death Stranding, and I'm gonna get really excited.
No, it's Sony exclusive.
Is it?
Yep. Kojima's Productions first game, Sony exclusive. So, yep.
That's
sorry.
You go first. After you, Anton.
I always wonder, it's like, every time they do an event, I'm like, what's left over? Especially with PSX. Last year, I'm like, oh, what are they going to do? And then they're like, oh yeah, and that too. I'm like, I kind of like that.
Yeah. But that's pretty much the point I was making with Sony, is that, they have pulled something out of the bag every year for the last few years, and I think it's just, what do they do this year that's going to top, talking about the Switch, talking about the Scorpio, and yes, they might do it better, but are they going to have enough? My answer is, I think probably yes. They'll probably pull something else out of the bag. I actually think they will. I'm not that worried, because Sony tend to do it anyway. And I'm excited to see, as much as we said we wouldn't mention it, I am looking forward to seeing what they're going to be doing with the Switch, because it's still early days, and we have only seen just, I think, a small snippet of the capabilities of the Switch, so I'm looking forward to that. So that's, it's all going to be great. It's E3. It's
I love E3.
Great fun.
I'll take a week off
Great
work
fun.
for it and everything.
Oh, I'm excited.
Can we fly out?
Excited.
Have you got enough budget for Gamify 24/7 to be there?
I'll be in Florida just when it's starting, I think.
You're just one flight away and you could be there.
I know exactly. So if
yeah,
anyone
cool.
wants to just chum me, I can delay my return to the UK and we can just head over to California.
That week is just like my favourite week of the year because we've got the Apple conference right at the beginning. Well, my Apple nerd's just like, oh my god, and then it's like we've just got E3.
It is, but I've been disappointed a few times now where I'm like Nintendo's one when they came out with Animal Crossing Festival Party or whatever, Amiibo Festival Party. I was like, oh my god, man, they just ruined it. I was so disappointed.
We don't speak of Wii U era Nintendo. That never happens.
Just a sidestep talking about the Apple conference, and I know we don't talk about Apple even though in some.
Gamify, what are we doing?
Well,
Apple.
well, this is just a sidestep. Don't worry, I'm not going into that giant dark hole that we're never going to get out of again of Appleness. It's just something I heard the other day about the changes they're making with the iPad, and they're ditching the kind of iPad Mini thing and kind of trying to kind of unify the name so rather than have a million different types of iPads. The only reason I mention it is that I actually count my iPad Mini as one of my gaming devices because I do have a lot of really good games, and where it really works is point and click for me, and we know Cat loves our point and clicks.
Oh yes.
So it has its uses, but I've noticed, and I only kind of caught a bit of this, but they're getting rid of the kind of Mini brand and they're trying to make it. I have to say, I have thought that there's been too many names. I mean, iPad Mini, iPad Maxi, I don't know.
Yeah. iPad Max.
Yeah, it's kind of the iPad Mini is just becoming a redundant product these days. Like the phones have gotten so much bigger. Like even these days, it's like if I'm watching a video, it's like I've got the 9.7-inch one. It's like, I'm fine with the phone.
I'm fine watching stuff on my phone as
So
well.
it's like even with the Mini, I couldn't imagine myself being like, yeah, I'll get the Mini off the bag because it's
Anyway,
like
we're
that
doing
big
too much
device.
Apple. There's too much Apple.
All right. I could
All
talk
right,
all day.
let's move on from Apple then. But I thought I'd mention it. Point and click. One day, Cat, we'll have a whole feature on a game on iPad only. Okay, so there you go. Just warning you.
It's
in advance.
relevant. That's
Just-
fine.
Let's move on to the retro corner then, and this week it's Anton.
Hello. So today, I'm not talking about another random handheld from the past today. With a bunch of Neo Geo games getting trickled onto the Nintendo Switch, I wish to discuss a game called Magician Lord. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that game.
No.
Nope.
Essentially, how about yourself, Michael?
Nope.
Okay. What's quite interesting about this game, it's almost like a completely forgotten game. It was a launch title for the Neo Geo AES and MVS, and it was a pack-in title, so it's one of the best-selling Neo Geo games of all time, but for some reason it's been forgotten. It's kind of like a side-scroller. It's very refined, the graphics are gorgeous. The kind of standout feature with it, with the Neo Geo being such a powerful console at the time, was it had massive, beautiful sprites. And this was 1990, so the Mega Drive had just popped on the scene. The Super Nintendo wasn't there. And then we had the Neo Geo with a game with like parallel scrolling, beautiful graphics. It's a very hard game. It's very brutal. It's got sub-bosses. It's got co-op, and essentially very basic story. Just go in there, need to save your homeland from the antagonist. So if you're looking for a game with just great refined, it's a weird game in which it doesn't have anything particularly distinct about it. Like, you don't think it is like, oh, it did this weird quirky thing. It's just a basic solid platformer. Well, not even platformer, it's like kind of almost like platforming meets Altered Beasts. Like that kind of combat style. What's also cool about it is you go ahead and you take the form of other characters. So rather than just getting a power-up, you do have power-ups, when you get orbs, it's like you go in and you transform to a ninja or wolf or different characters such as that, and your entire moveset changes, or you breathe fire, rather than just being like, oh, you've got a sword now, you've got an axe
all
now.
ninjas breathe fire, obviously.
Oh yes. So yeah, that's kind of a short one. I overestimated how much I would say, but yeah, Magician's Lord. Hopefully we get on Switch. If you're looking to play it, you can either emulate it for Neo Geo, AES or MVS, or it's on the Wii.
Legally.
Or PS3. So,
or PS3.
As you say, there's probably a very good chance that will come to the Switch with the fact we've been getting a lot of Neo Geo games. But yeah, the Neo Geo was one of you know, that was like literally an arcade. It was the exact same hardware, and the games used to cost £200. So it probably was one of the best games at the time.
Oh,
it was
definitely.
way ahead. So,
It's a real solid game, and it is brutally difficult. I'm not going to lie there.
Do you know about that, the Neo Geo?
No.
It was basically, when the Mega Drive, it's like Anton was saying, it came out, but the console cost a fortune.
Yeah, I
but
think
the
it was
games were £200 each. But they were arcade games. They were the exact game that you got in an arcade. So they were amazing.
Like in 1990, you were playing like PS1, Sega Saturn caliber games. So it was like leaps and bounds upon everything else. So keep an eye on your Nintendo Switches.
Yeah.
It will quite possibly be on there because they seem to be shoving every single Neo Geo game on the planet on there.
Cool.
Nice.
Speaking of retro, I actually think the Switch has a lot of potential for a good retro library, because we saw it before with the Wii U and Nintendo libraries previously. It could really work well. I think it's the ideal console because you've got that portability with it as well. Older games look particularly great on a smaller screen, you know. So it could really work as a retro, a kind of a way into retro gaming again.
You know what I'd love to see? I'm sure I've said it before. Dreamcast on the Switch. That would be heaven for me. Dreamcast on the Switch. Bring out the games, £7 each or something, £10 each. I'd be all over that.
Like they never did it with the Wii U, but with the Wii, having Sega games on there, having TurboGrafx games in the Virtual Console really made it. So I hope that's something we see on the Switch, because I feel like there's a big divide between going ahead and re-downloading Sonic Adventure on Xbox or downloading Sonic Adventure on a handheld. Like that's a big distinction there. It's not the same experience, and having these games on the go is just going to be fantastic.
It's exciting times, I'll tell you that.
It is. I have a JXD portable device which I use for retro gaming, and it's great, but it is a bit fiddly. Whereas, you know, if you had these games on the Switch, I'd be happy. Like you, if they were bringing out Dreamcast games at £7 a game, there's a good 10 titles I'd buy. You know, I can think of straight off. Hey, listen, it's you know, there's so many possibilities. Maybe that'll be one of the E3 things. You know, you never know. Retro Switch time. You just never know.
Well, last kind of thing for E3. What would be the one game that would make you lose it? Like, audibly yelp of excitement. Like, game that you would blow your mind if you saw at E3.
Blow my mind, what, in a graphical way, or just
like a game that you just want so badly, you'll just handle your money, not even seeing it.
I think I can predict Sean's and Cat's. I think.
I think so.
No, because mine's is coming.
Yeah, Shenmue's already coming.
Well,
it's coming.
He's
Like,
already
game we
been
know is
coming.
satisfied.
But I'd love Phantasy Star 2, the one that's in Japan only just now. I'd love it if they made a Switch version of that. It's like, I don't think it's the graphically most impressive game, but I'd just love to get it and not have to go through all the fiddly crap with setting up Japanese and English servers and copying files over. Just chuck it on the console, I'd be happy. Boom.
Cat?
Fabulous.
I think I've already mentioned, like, I can think of two that I'd like lose it. I would scream. Half-Life 3, obviously. I've been planning to just shout from the rooftops if that ever happens. I also Knights of the Old Republic 3 because I really want to play it. Or Jade Empire 2 as well. And no matter what console it was coming out on, I would be buying it if I don't already own it. So there you go, guys. Any consoles?
Oh, Michael, what about yourself?
You know, that's a really, I don't know, that's a tough question. There's so many.
I know what it is. Football Manager.
Hey, if they brought Football Manager out on the Switch, because you got the touch screen on the Switch as well,
that would actually
it worked for me. It would actually work for me. But anyway, you know, to be honest, there are so many titles. I would love to see. I would love to see a new Mass Effect actually, but never mind. Anyway, Anton, what about you?
A new Burnout game. If you've ever played that franchise, it's kind of destruction racing. The franchise has been dormant for years.
Like the early Burnouts. I want the early Burnouts with the proper big destruction, you know, all that stuff. Arcadey feel.
I feel like just with modern day technology, like having proper realistic destruction would be insane. And it's just been so dormant. It's sold so well, and then Criterion did nothing for like a couple of years, and then they're like, Star Wars VR. I'm like,
isn't Criterion gone now though?
Oh, they're still around.
Are they?
Technically, their office doesn't even have tables anymore, but they're technically around.
Maybe stop complaining.
I know, it's like they were working on something for so long, and then they just did Star Wars VR in like 6 months. I'm like, what were you doing for like 6 years? Where's my Burnout?
Well, burnout, you never know, Anton. It could happen. The dream is still there, and while it's a dream, you know, we can dream, and you never know. If we dream hard enough, those dreams might come true. You just
Fingers
That
crossed.
sounded like something Shia LaBeouf would say.
That's so good.
It didn't. What I said didn't actually make any sense, but that's not important.
Yep.
You know, we're all friends here. Right. Listen, that's about it then. We're just about finished episode 10. We're into double figures. We're looking forward to hopefully maybe having some competition-y type things coming up. We can't give away too much yet, Shauna, but you know, obviously we're excited, and hopefully that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, we'll have more info on that soon, but yeah, I'll not say anything just now, but we'll have more info, and hopefully, yeah, we can have some cool stuff for you guys going forward.
As Gamify enters the teenage years, things should be exciting.
One thing I will say is, I mentioned last week we were doing like sort of kind of random bits of news, and I did post up on the Facebook page, is they're going to be exclusive to Patreon members, so you'll still get the podcast normally. That's not affected at all. You still get that. You can still listen to that free on iTunes and SoundCloud. But for Patreon backers, it's just a little bit extra, little like bits where I've been coming on and just for a couple of minutes each day or every couple of days, whatever, talking about random stuff. And I think you guys are going to be joining as well at some point when you get a chance. But
we will.
That's just
we
for
promise.
Patreon backers.
Oh,
Just to say thank you, and you get a little bit more interactive stuff. So check that out.
Brilliant. Well, that's it for episode number 10 of Gamify 24/7. Happy gaming. Make sure you like and subscribe. And we'll be back next week.
Hey!